I'm pleased.
Hey, everybody out there, come on in. We see you out there in the hall. Come on in.
No, we don't.
Stone wasn't here to set up any chairs today, or even to bring cookies. So you're just gonna have.
Is Stone showing up?
Come on in, have a seat. No, he's not. We don't know where Stone is. We miss him greatly.
Bastard.
We wish he would come home.
We wish he would come home. Come home, Stone. Come back. Come back. We have to bring the. Come back. Come back.
That's what I'll do. I'm going to change the ending of Shane and have the kid saying Stone instead of Shane. Come back, Stone.
Stone, come back. Come back.
That would be classic.
I'll never let go, Stone. I promise. And watch Stone sink into the fucking depths in Titanic and shit. It's like, I'll never let go. And then she fucking lets him go and watches him sink into the depths. I'm like,
it's not like she could have moved over, right? I mean, damn.
I know, right? Fat fuck. You know, she's a fat fuck. That's why. That's what happens.
She's a fat fuck.
Yeah, okay. Kate Winslet's a fat fuck, and she couldn't even let fucking Leo Caprio fucking sit with her and shit. She would have ate him.
I have 28. How unfair you are.
They should have used a smaller door. Yeah.
They should use that car they fucked in.
Shot it.
They had a lot of room for that, didn't they? Yeah. Fat bitch.
Well, yeah, it's in the 1900s. They had a lot of room for a lot of shit.
Yeah, they fucked in the car, but then it's like, oh, we have the rest of the ocean here. Now we can lay around all over the place. Chunky.
Come on in, folks. It's another episode of the ZimmCast.
I'm all hopped up on lack of sleep, Coke, and Coca-Cola. No,
Coca-Cola.
No, cocaine. Fucking
cocaine.
Nosebleed.
In LA, they're like, hey, we're vegan, but do you want to do some Coke with us in the back? I'm like, what?
Do they have vegan cocaine?
I do not know. I don't think cocaine could ever be vegan because it uses gasoline as one of the rendering parts.
Well, what if no, that's not true. Holy shit. Instead of gasoline, you could use ethanol, which is made from corn.
But the thing is, they use vegan leather, which is made from oil, which is also made from animals.
No, it's not.
It's always the chick who has to fucking put in her part, and then she claims to be right. We let her be right because, at some point they have to make dinner for us, so,
Yeah, you don't want that.
So a sexist would say.
Like food.
That's what I would say. I'm not a sexist. Everyone knows that. Just make sure my fucking sandwich and my remote's next to the TV.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're all here to talk about comics. What's going on?
We're running an intro. Here we go.
It's
And we really need to run this.
Warning! The following program is rated TV-MADLSV and is intended for mature audiences. Expect adult expletives, adult situations, and video clips of people you might find offensive. The opinions expressed in this podcast are entirely the responsibility of the person speaking and or typing, and in no way meant to reflect the opinions of the Ragin 2 podcast network. No children, small pets, floppy titties, or Russian bots were harmed bringing this podcast to you. Thank you.
And have a nice day.
I love floppy titties. It's like pancakes on a Sunday morning.
Filth is not the new brown.
Oranges. God, I can't say it. I'm going to shut up. Anyway. Hi.
Well, everybody. How you doing? We are on the Ragin 2 network on YouTube. And if you are over there, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that love button. Hit your own love button. And drop us a comment. Let us know the chat is open. The chat is available.
There's a chat?
There's a chat. Grant Lankard's in the house. Says, hey, guys. Pops is in the
Grant.
house. Says, hey, yo. Ragin
yo,
2
what's up,
says,
Pops?
Hey, Grant. Hey, yo, Pops,
hey, yo,
whatever.
Pops.
Yes, vegan cocaine made from
Orgain?
Orgain.
What? The fuck?
Like,
what did he say?
Orgain.
There
you go.
Good evening, all.
Good evening, George.
Good evening, Jorge. Well. Is it George or Jorge?
George.
We call him George.
Stop, you lying sexist ass. No, I ain't gonna stop it.
All right.
Hey, Jorge, is it George or Jorge? I don't know what the fuck.
You're lying, sex. That's HR.
It's George.
Who's saying that? Who's saying that shit? Is that Nita? Is that Miss Nita saying that to me?
Small hamster that sits.
That's hurt my feelings. Why should you hurt my feelings like that, man? Look at my face now. I'm all sad and shit.
Because for you, it's 2 a.m.
Oh, fuck. It is 2 a.m. That's right. Well, it's 2:06.
2:06.
Guess what time the sun rises? Guess what time the sun's going to rise here in the UK?
Never, right?
Never.
No. I shit you not. 3:30 in the morning.
Oh,
does it?
golly.
Well, you know, we're I used to live in New York, and of course, if it's like the summer solstice, it's like the sun rises at about 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Amen.
If in the UK where I am, I'm on the same latitude as Nova Scotia, so we get more of the sun than anybody in the States usually, except that unless you're in Maine. So our summer solstice, the sun did not set until 11:15 tonight, and it will rise at 3:30. And for winter solstice, it gets dark at 3:30 afternoon, and the sun doesn't rise until about 9:30. So we get shit sunlight during the winter. It's insane.
Sounds depressing.
It really is. It's weird. It's so goddamn weird because it's like you leave and you're at work. It's still dark, and then when you leave, it's dark still. But you know it's supposed to be sun. It's some weird shit. I mean, I'm here 2 years and I'm still not used to the climate sometimes. Hello, who's that? Mitch Rogers. Hello, Mitch Rogers. How are you?
I'm doing good. How is everybody?
All right.
I'm awake as fuck at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm in the UK. I'm fucked right now, so I don't care. I just had coffee, so I'm awake.
Away from sunrise, so.
Yeah, that's right. I will show you. I will turn the camera around, and I will show you. It's going to rise at around 3:30.
Oh my god!
Fucking insane. I know, right? It's insane.
For us, that would be about what 10:30. Be about 10:30.
I think it's about
about 9:30. Well, 10:30 for you.
9:30. It would be 10:30 for you. Yeah. You guys are probably. I don't know when you're going to end the podcast, but it'll still be the same day when you do. I'm already ahead of you. I'm already tomorrow.
Right.
You know, so I'm like 5 hours ahead in the future.
Time travel.
Fuck me. Go around the sun, really at the speed of at warp speed, and you create a time flux thingamabooby, and then you wind up in fucking late 21st century Los Angeles with the rest of the Borgs and everything. That's has anybody seen Picard yet? The second season of Picard.
I haven't seen the first season of it, so I couldn't tell you.
I have watched.
Whatever you do, don't see it.
Some of it. I have watched some of it. The wife has watched it and thought it was pretty good.
She did. I thought it was. I thought it was a little contrived, a little bit here and there. But I'm sorry. I'm. That's all the coffee that's going in my brain, and I haven't slept yet. So, Randy, please take it over before I keep rambling.
I am really enjoying Strange New Worlds.
I have yet to see that.
I like it. It reminds me a whole lot of the original Trek.
Really?
They say a few things. Well, it takes place on Pike's Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
And Nurse Chapel is a young blonde in it. Uhura is a cadet on it. Spock is science officer, and he's played the people that they have playing the roles. I think it's really good casting. It's amazingly good writing considering how Discovery and what I've seen of Picard. It's night and day. It's like they sat down with all of the original series, the Kirk, Spock, Bones, Scotty stuff, and said, what we're doing comes before this, and it needs to look like this. It needs to feel like this. And that's
fantastic.
It's all there are a few threads that go from episode to episode, but it's not annoying. You know, most of the time it's just a single episode story, and some of those stories, one or two of them have been kind of goofy, but they make up for it with the feel and the atmosphere of the ship. It takes place in Chris Pine's Trek universe.
How long was Pine the captain?
It's not
of the Enterprise.
This is Pine as Kirk. That it takes
Pine
place
as the captain.
It takes place in the Abrams Trek universe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where Spock has gone back in time and he's told everybody and all of their all of their science has advanced farther than what the original series is. So everything's pretty, everything's modern looking. You know, it's not like they're running around on wooden sets and sticking plastic squares into a slot and calling it a computer.
In the future, we all turn into hairy-ass werewolf-looking fuckers. That's what Nita.
Well, that's our future, but that's
our future. Yeah.
Trek is this Trek is, but it's been really enjoyable.
Randy, if I may ask, man, isn't like the updated and more modern version of the Enterprise bridge just an aesthetics thing? Because I mean, was that just a choice for the production and the writers, or was that something that was actually changed as far as like continuity of like the Star Trek movie in 2009 when old Spock went back in time?
This is that universe after Spock has gone back in time. But the cool thing about this is that the cool thing, one of the running threads between some of the episodes is apparently in Discovery, Pike got a glimpse of his death and saw himself in the invalid chair that is in Menagerie in the original series, because that's Pike. That's all blown out. His face is all, the two-parter in the original Trek.
The first one, right?
Yeah. The first Trek. That's that Pike, and he's seen that Pike's death, and they haven't said if that's in that reality or if he saw the Pike that's in Kirk's reality.
Well, it's not. It's not his reality. It's not going to be his reality.
Yeah.
It's not his reality, because if the old Spock went back in time and changed the technology and everything, every single destiny of every single being from that moment on is changed irrevocably.
Yeah.
And, Christopher Pike will be the captain, and he won't wind up in the vegetable chair. So, good.
Well, what was the deal with that?
That's where they're building their way to it.
Why did they decide not to continue with Pike and end up coming back with
Shatner?
Kirk, as a captain.
There was a bit of time between the first pilot and the second pilot, and some of those actors were not able to be secured.
Jeffrey Hunter wasn't able to. No,
and they wanted some changes made because originally Spock had a red tint to him, and they said he looked too devilish. So they just pointed his ears. Yeah.
And they made it. They gave him the green. Was that before the green blood or after the green blood?
That was I'm not sure if they mentioned that he bleeds green in the original pilot or not. It's just something. There's so much of that stuff that they've been making up as they go along.
In fact, in the original, if I remember correctly, in the pilot, he had a little bit more emotion than he ended up showing.
Yeah.
I do remember that. Yeah, I do remember that.
Well, what's cool about this is they're still dealing with his half-breededness. Half Vulcan,
he's half human, half Vulcan. Yeah.
And he's dealing with the woman that is his betrothed, is the same woman that betrays him in Amok Time.
Oh, to Pring?
Playing the same, playing the same name of the character.
I love that episode, especially after he kills Kirk, and he's like, "I see no logic in you choosing Ston over me," and I'm like, "Oh, you pimp."
And in Strange New Worlds, they know of the Gorn. They've seen the Romulans, and then they didn't do that in the original series. They didn't see the Romulans until that episode when they look so close to the Vulcan. But they know of the Gorn, but they haven't. Only a few people that have survived have directly seen what the Gorn look like, and one of them is on the ship. Yeah,
isn't one of the crew members a Noonien Singh?
Yeah. A descendant of Singh, yeah.
Oh my God! Does she have any of the augment features or anything, or is she just human?
They cover that in the show. She's genetically enhanced.
Oh, okay.
And then one of the characters on the show, and I won't spoil it for you. One of the main cast is also of that race, and never told anybody.
Oh wow!
But it don't take my word for it. You have to sit and watch it. It's worth your time. Okay. Nurse Chapel is amazing. Like I said, the casting on it is the guy who's playing Spock is doing a really good job, I think.
You think so? Do you think he's doing it better than Zachary Quinto?
Oh yeah. Yeah, he
Really?
slides in right there underneath Nimoy. Well, Quinto, though, I saw him on Heroes too much.
Oh, okay. I get you.
But this guy is fresh off. I don't know what his acting chops have been before that, but he plays a Vulcan incredibly well.
You would have been real thrown off if you had seen Quinto and what he was doing before. He was on the Tori Spelling show.
Yeah.
It's very, very different character than anything he played in, what was it, Skylar and Heroes?
Ew.
Skylar, yeah.
But Strange New Worlds is, I think, one of the high points of Paramount Plus right now. I look forward to it's one of the few shows that I actually look forward to watching every week. You know, is it Friday yet? Because the shows pop up on Thursday. We might start watching them late Thursday just to see them. But it's been very enjoyable. The best Star Trek since the Orville. Seriously.
You want to talk about a show that got messed up?
Talk about
Heroes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Heroes. What?
Heroes that got messed up towards the end there.
Who?
Heroes.
Oh, Oh yeah. What a mess. It's right up there. I consider that. Well, sorry, we lost Rich, but I consider it right up there with Lost. Great premise, great direction, great start. Just fell on its face. Just right at the end. Just
I keep
right
forgetting that it
and you sit there
actually
and you
ended.
go, Are you kidding me?
And then it came back just to give it a horrible death blow again.
I had this whole story made up for Lost because everybody was watching it, digging, looking for clues and all of this. I knew where they were going with that show, and they took it 180 real fast because apparently, I don't know, maybe they couldn't secure rights for what they were doing. But originally, if you watch the first season, you know Lost takes place in Neverland.
Which would have been actually pretty cool. I never watched the show.
You could if you watch the first season, you could only get to the island by going in a specific direction. First start to the right and straight on till morning. The island itself fulfilled children's imaginations. Because suddenly there was a polar bear. Somebody finds a Flash comic that's got a polar bear on it. Suddenly there's a polar bear. The smoke monster that was running through there was the last of the fairies.
Mm-hmm.
And she was pissed, always pissed, and she was causing this big smoke behind her, and she was killing people who didn't have that spark of imagination. So if she runs across you and she doesn't kill you, she realizes that you've still got the imagination of a kid inside of you, and she leaves you alone. That's why the smoke monster was picking on different. Anyway, they muffed that up so bad. It's terrible.
Well,
time maintaining it.
You know, the same people that did Lost did Once Upon a Time. So
the same people that did Lost that's Bad Robot. They did the Return of the Star Trek. They did the
but the producers who created Lost,
episode 7 and 9 of Star Wars too. Anyway,
I'm talking. Yeah, well, that's the production company. I'm talking about the creators. I'm talking a little bit more that the people who created Lost also created Once Upon a Time.
Wasn't that a muddled mess?
Well, yeah, the first season was good. I don't know why.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, just like the first season.
But I think that kind of gives credence to your theory.
Yeah,
is they went from doing Lost to doing a fairy tale based show. So I wonder if it had something to do with Disney. Was at the same time Disney was buying ABC?
Oh, they've already.
I think they had already bought
ABC
it.
back in the 90s. Yeah, because if you watch TGIF, there was one month-long storyline with all the shows where they all go to Disney World.
That's right. Yeah,
and that was like the
World. Yeah,
that was like the the rules that they put forward was like each show had to somehow advertise for Disney. Yeah.
Yes.
We're 20 minutes in. Let's do some really quick introductions before we get to the point of the show. Hey everybody, I'm a longtime alternative and independent comics producer, printer, publisher, creator. I ran conventions. I've done just about everything in this industry that you can imagine, and now I'm podcasting at least twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week when I'm on dispatches from outside the box. Plus, I'm working on my own stuff. You can find me all the time at the ZimmCast at gmail.com. And I'm really glad I'm here. I am your host for the ZimmCast. Also co-hosting with me today is C. Michael. C. Michael, introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm C. Michael Linden, independent artist, mad scribbler, and also a panelist and show coordinator for Dispatches from Outside the Box. So there's my quick introduction.
That's your quick introduction. Christie, introduce yourself.
Well, I am the president of Cap Central, Comic Book Professional Society. I run Horror Tour Studios, and I have done this. This is the new book that I did the Kickstarter for.
All right.
So, yeah, I just got them in today. I checked them, and they look really good. This is the paperback. So I'm going to be complete orders of the prints and the paperbacks. And I got good news that that the charms and the pins they already showed me a glorious picture of. I'm going to probably do it tomorrow with the update. I've been kind of out of it today. But I've been doing that, and the stickers and the patches, they look all glorious, too. They're being shipped to me. Hopefully I'll get them within a week. I'm kind of getting confused because they're getting them one right after the other. So I think I'm getting the patches and stickers and charms kind of around the same time. But this is getting in closer. Now, I did order more books in general because some of you guys put in more packs, and this is under my Black Cat's hairy ass. So I think I should give this to Randy, like after.
If you have to, I will take it.
Okay, yeah.
I look forward to reading it.
Yeah.
Just deface it first. Make sure you deface it first.
I will. I totally will.
Also joining us in a rare appearance. Well, or not. What is that? Is that Shark Man? What? King Shark. King Shark.
That's me. King Shark.
The
Hungry.
Rich Perota. Up late. Rich, introduce yourself.
My name's Rich Perota. I am a former Marvel and DC Comics artist. Worked for them for about 12 years combined. 2013, I jumped to the independent circuit because I prefer the freedom of creativity instead of having to be a style guide slave to whatever the hell they do. And in 2000, Cancer Survivor, that's one. And in 2021, I self-published my first graphic novel series, The Incantessi, and now I will start in August my new series called Roaring. Well, The Roaring, it's about a group of flappers in the 1920 Chicago who dub themselves The Roaring, and they have one objective, which is to take over all of organized crime in Chicago. Now, they're doing great. They're succeeding, and the only person that can stop them is Officer Sophie Grant, who is the first female police officer in the 27th District of Chicago, and she goes undercover as a flapper girl to try and infiltrate and destroy the gang of girls from the inside, or maybe not. So that's going to be a 6-issue series. And in 2023, once I finish the character designs, I'm going to release a book called Cord, the Incorrigible. It's about a gentleman who was once a fine warrior and incredible lethal protector for Forest Everlasting. He had a long-term relationship with Queen Vulva, but unfortunately they broke up, and since she's a terrible, spoiled brat, evil sorceress chick, she turned this strapping young knight into this half-ram, half-man creature, and she has kept him in his ivory tower, captured, and only allows him to come out for two things: one, for sex, and the other one to do her bidding aside from sex. And she's kept him there long enough, and has decided, I will release you on one condition: you find me the last Alaxi. Once you do that, I will change you back. And he goes with his best friend, Benchley, who I think is going to be a honey badger, I think. He's not going to be a walrus. I think he's going to be a honey badger. Him and his honey badger human hybrid friend are going to search for the last Alaxi to bring that being back to Queen Vulva, so she can do what she wants. Or will she? Haha. That's
Sounds like Queen Vulva has some kinks she needs to work out.
Well, I'm. This one is going to be. Usually, I try and do a little bit of a serious book, usually here and there, once in a while. But this one, I've decided to let my id, or like the 15-year-old adolescent that lays dormant in me, out just for this one to see how far I can go with it. And when I design, well, her name is not Queen Vulva, it's Queen Avlov, Vulva in reverse, to get the hint or whatever the fuck it is. And her castle is going to have many phallic symbols and many genitalia shapes in the design of her throne room and all that stuff. It's really going to be a very childish thing, but it's going to be funny. It's going to have its drama. It's going to have its heartfelt moments. It's going to have its very serious moments, but it's also going to be funny too. So, grr. Who said? Why is there a grr?
Ragin says, and look at what mainstream did to Rich. Poor guy. Looks homeless. It killed his soul.
That's all right. She's back here laughing at your.
She is?
She's finding it hilarious.
Finds what hilarious?
Your story.
Oh, okay.
It was especially the genitalia in the palace. So
yes, there's going to be nothing but genitalia. It's going to be female genitalia and male phalluses as all sorts of like hidden design features, and it's like find the penis or find the vagina within the entire throne room and everything. So, yeah, I know. I'm a 15-year-old again. I don't know what the hell. Maybe it's my midlife crisis or some shit, which is pretty good because I'm 53. That means I won't die until I'm 106. Yay!
Also joining us, laughing in the corner, is Mr. Mitch Rogers. Mitch, introduce yourself.
Hey, Mitch.
Hi. Hi, I'm Mitch Rogers. I am the creator, writer, and artist of the Boger and the Flesh and Blood collection, 2 different series, and the publisher of Celtic Cross Studios.
Zombie Rich. Nice. Cool. And hey, everybody, I was yesterday here in the Flint area where I'm at. We had a couple of fires that sprung up, and one of them was in the historic district in a little town called Holly, which is one of the longest standing towns in the area, and their historical district caught fire, and it was quite a tragedy. The Holly Hotel burned, and folks were,
oh my God,
gathered around and kind of lamenting everybody's memories at this hotel. It's a long-standing hotel. Pardon me. And we also had a fire at a recycle center. A bunch of trash caught on fire. And I was thinking both of those are kind of metaphors for the comic industry.
Dumpster fires.
And that and that we can sit around and watch our history of this industry burn and be burned and to cinders and destroyed, or we can just chalk it off as a dumpster fire.
Why such a fatalistic view? What brought this on?
Well, everything that's been happening, there's been so much bullshit that's happened, and I've been involved in some of the BS crap, drama, whatever you want to call it, and it just seems to be getting worse and more outlandish the farther along we go.
Well, what kind of bullshit? I mean, I've been missing a lot of it, evidently. What's going on?
Well, there's with me, it's well documented. There was a big deal going on with Liberty Distribution. They said that they had a large deal in play, and they didn't. And those two who were completely full of shit and took advantage of everybody. Nice job, guys. Good job. Yeah. Well, there was another thing that sprung up this week. Also, there's just been a lot of immature bullshit. That's
You're kidding. What happened?
No. They had a one of the guys went out and did a video saying that one of these other guys who hates somebody else has been supplying him with hate videos that he's been running and claiming for his own.
Okay.
And it's a muddled mess of a lot of immature brats pulling a lot of schoolyard drama bullshit. And
so it's typical internet stuff.
Typical internet. Typical internet.
Keyboard warrior, pussy ass bitch motherfuckers.
It seems that the whole industry is being plagued by this crap instead of people just sitting there and getting work done.
Right.
I guess You know,
you've got this polarization with the guys over there who want to call themselves comics gate, who just want to do good comics. Other people over here who are working in these larger companies that are causing literally one disaster after the next with these icons that they have control of, that they seem to be intentionally setting on fire and watching burn, gleefully watching.
Well, that's something I've noticed a lot. I've noticed a lot of people getting to that point where they get into the industry only to try and destroy the characters because of their own narrow worldview. I've noticed that. I mean, what was that? There was this comic. It was supposed to be, what was it, Starfire's daughter?
Yeah.
Or some shit like that. And instead of her being this statuesque golden goddess, she's this short, pasty-faced white chick.
She looks just like the person who wrote it.
I know, and it's like the writer looks like is in fact a short, pasty-faced, fat white chick. Exactly, and I'm like, wow, you didn't project yourself into that, did you? I mean, you know, and in
general, it kind of didn't take account into who Starfire really is. That's why I was like,
yeah, exactly. And it's like, I think a lot of editors nowadays are of that same type of thought process, where it's like, I want to get this story up because it reflects on my feelings of the world, and this person thinks like I do. So let's put out some really shitty stuff and make sure that our voices are heard. And then they slink away into oblivion like they usually do. It's kind of sad and pathetic.
Like they're intentionally trying to tear apart the art form in the industry.
Well, that's because they were never the cool kids that drew comics or anything. They were always the ones that were being picked on. And it's like they still have that animosity towards everyone. And it's like, well, I'm going to ruin it because no one else allowed me to be with the cool kids. And it's like, it's the same with that, what's his name, that idiot, and I don't give a shit that he hears me. What's he going to do, beat the crap out of my ankle? What's his name? Daniel Kibbles and Bits, whatever the fuck. Oh, Kibblesmith, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's guy, yeah.
Who?
Yeah, that mountain man, Daniel Kibbles and Bits. You know, the guy who fucking wrote the New Warriors, the new Warriors.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Fucking new like they're the new X-Men. It's like, who the fuck are the New Warriors to begin with? They sucked. And then all of a sudden, it's like, now you're doing the next generation of New Warriors? Who the fuck are these guys? And then I see them, and it's like, during this little interview that he had, it's like, when I saw Night Thrasher the first time, I was really intimidated because he had a knife come out of his hand. I'm like, well, he's not the first one that's had that. You know, and it's like, so I decided to make it a little bit different. And every single one of those characters were absolute dog shit. Every single one. But he had to make them as woke and as, like, accommodating as possible. And there were two trans non-binary characters on that team.
Safe space.
Yeah.
They weren't.
Now,
Barf.
I don't know if y'all know this. He did. I don't know if it was before or after he got the New Warriors job. He wrote a children's book called Santa's Husband. Okay, it's about how Santa is really gay, but Santa in it is also black, and he said, like in an interview or something, because I read it, someone sent it to me, that he purposely did that to piss people off. But it's like,
he has issues. That's the problem with him. I mean, look at him. This guy never had a. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Mention something.
Oh no, it's fine. He's too stupid to realize that every culture has a different version of Santa Claus. Yeah. So, and they're all, a lot of them are different. So who's he going to piss off by having a black gay Santa when there's so many different types of Santa to begin with? I mean, like no one
Coca-Cola
that I know of, no one that I know of was making fun of the black gay Santa. They were making fun of him for being an idiot.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is the New Warriors. Wow, look at these fucking losers.
I can't enlarge the image.
Did they cancel this book, or is it still coming out?
They never printed it.
They never printed it.
No.
Good, because
apparently everything was done on it. They got so much backlash on it that they killed the project.
Oh. Well, I don't blame them because it's dog shit.
Yeah,
it's complete dog shit.
So don't let anybody fool you, folks. Trolling does work. Just remember that.
It does, especially when it comes to this shit. If I remember, the one in the middle, he's like supposed to be this. He's supposed to be this kid who inhaled his grandfather's internet gas.
Yes,
Yeah.
internet
Is that
gas.
what the fuck
that
it
guy
was?
right there. Yeah.
What
Yeah,
is
that
internet
one.
gas?
There's internet
I
gas.
have no fucking idea what that is. And then the other one
gonna
over
make it a
there,
thing.
the one on her right, the one on his right. If
right,
it's a he or if it's a they, or whatever the fuck, this chunk master here is Trailblazer. I'm like, the only thing she's blazing a trail to is the line at the buffet.
But she
That
has a
fuck-
magical backpack.
Yeah.
But so does Deadpool. You know, he has a fucking magical backpack too, but it's like a Liefeld pouch instead. Wow, that's innovative.
We already ran the warning, right? We did win.
I can hear Nita from here. Yeah.
No, we did run the not all views and opinions expressed in this.
Yes, we did.
I don't care. That's right. So I'm fucking cut loose, and it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Eat my shit. Fuck that noise.
Yeah, we don't care if you get canceled.
Yeah.
I don't care if I get canceled. I don't care if I get canceled.
Bob
I'm not going to
says,
get canceled.
Looks like dog shit. But just be glad you didn't step.
It is dog shit. It is. And if I stepped on that comic, I would be stepping in dog shit.
You'd be doing.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Look,
I'm not telling
It
you.
would make it look better.
Well,
Yeah.
If I peed on it, it would look better.
well, it's kind of bad that this didn't come out because I remember when it was supposed to come out, we had a huge toilet paper shortage. So we kind of need those
Right, I remember.
Well, you know, they were going to have the
It's
TV
Marvel.
show, and I can't remember her name because I can never pronounce it right. But the AT&T hostess,
Oh, her, yeah.
she's supposed to have been Squirrel Girl. But from what I understand, is they canceled the show.
Who was?
You know the AT&T girl?
Yeah.
Yeah, cute thing.
I really like
Von
her.
Trout. Mila Von Trout. Yeah.
Yes.
Isn't
she's
she
gonna
like
be
40
Squirrel
or
Girl.
something?
Yeah, she's beautiful.
No, she's.
Okay.
I think maybe 30s, in her 30s.
Yeah, probably.
But,
Yeah, she's about my age.
But she's going to be Squirrel Girl. But they canceled it because they said it was too gay.
Yeah.
They actually, that was the reason that they. That's the
It's
reason
like
that
the
they
new
canceled
Warriors
New
show.
Warriors.
Well,
like the
if
new
it's
Warriors
two
book, yeah.
if it's two gay women, that's okay. And I'll watch that shit. all
I'm
day.
not quite
I
sure.
watch that all the time.
Oh hell yeah, man!
I mean, it had to be bad if in this day and age that was their excuse for canceling the show.
Well, not anymore because there's been at Warner's at least there's been a good backlash against bad quality shows, and a lot of them have had gay characters in them,
Yeah,
and they take it personal, but it's just bad quality shows.
yeah. It's not has nothing to do whether the characters are gay or not. It's just a shit TV show.
Exactly.
You know, we don't give a shit. I don't care if there's a transgender or a non-binary superhero, as long as the story is fucking good.
Yeah.
If there's meaning behind it.
Right.
What was that for? Did I say the magic word?
You did.
Yeah.
So is that supposed to be?
We didn't
is that
have the
supposed to
duck
be-
or nothing. Where's the duck? The duck's
Where's
not
the
here.
duck?
Never mind.
I was looking
Go
for
ahead.
the duck. Do you believe that I know that reference?
Yeah, I do. She's ruled a 34 too, Mitch. You're welcome.
I actually know that reference too. We're talking.
You bet your
She's
life we
ruled
do.
her- You bet your life.
Anyway, you bet your life.
I love that fucking show.
I was
Groucho
gonna end up
Marx.
flipping that when we had George on with his duck.
Wonder
show.
Duck.
Yeah.
You need a duck there, Randy. You got to get a duck whenever anybody says the magic word.
I almost
He has
bought
one
me a
somewhere.
chicken the other day.
You get
so
get a
we were
chicken,
gonna-
a rubber
I was gonna
chicken,
Buy one for. I was going to buy one for Daphne.
a rubber chicken with an
JD was
enormous
up here.
phallus
Yeah, JD
Or-
said, "Don't you dare."
or a big floating vagina, just
get it
up and
in-
down and everything.
Oh, terrible, Rick. Terrible.
I am. I'm sorry.
Anyway, the point is that we're watching a lot of the industry burn right now, and
Yes,
it
we
has
are.
been for the last 5, 6, 7 years, with people with ridiculous ideas and people tearing
Yeah.
apart icons. And the Justice League is dead right now. Nobody cares, but they are. They're dead. And they've
They
all
will
been
come back
replaced by-
probably in a couple of years or something like that.
They've
to
all
be
been
honest.
replaced by bad secondary versions of them. But I've always told people all of my heroes died at Crisis and Heroes Reborn anyway. They've all been replaced by
Yeah.
soulless zombies ever since. Because a lot of
Really?
these people don't know how to write these characters to save their life. And then you see all of this other drama that springs up. Warner Brothers right now doesn't have a movie in production except for Black Adam that doesn't have controversy swelling around it in the DCU stuff with Ezra Miller and Amber Heard.
Oh God,
they seem to pick them. But and then they do Black Adam, and I'm a huge fan of Captain Marvel, the Shazam Captain Marvel. And when they said they were going to do a Black Adam movie, I said, "Are you fucking kidding me? Jesus, what a mess that's going to be." And yeah, granted, it's got Hawkman in it, and he looks cool. It's got Dr. Pierce Brosnan plays Kent Nelson, Dr. Fate.
Dr.
Awesome.
Fate, yeah,
cool, good for them. But why do Black Adam when there's so many other characters out there?
2 words: Dwayne Johnson. That's
Dwayne Johnson should have been Doc Savage. He could have taken that entire time he was filming Black Adam and done a Doc Savage movie and had blazed a franchise for himself instead of a one-off movie of a villain that 5-10 years from now people aren't going to care.
But he's an anti-hero, really.
He's
been turned into. They write him, I guess.
He used to be a villain. He used to be the absolute adversary of Captain Marvel for the longest time, but then they retconned him, and they made him the Guardian of Kandahar. So he's kind of he's a villain to a lot of us, but it's kind of like a Doctor Doom thing, where Doctor Doom is the leader of Black. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Originally, he was a one-and-done hero that his skeleton disintegrated at the end of the Marvel Family story that he was in. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Oh, my God, that's awesome.
They tricked him into saying Shazam, and he turned back to his Egyptian self, which was thousands of years old, and age caught up with him real quick.
Nice.
And that's how they got rid of him. I don't know how they brought him back. I haven't really been keeping up with all of the different iterations of Captain Marvel because I can't stand the pain. Yeah. Just like Plastic Man. Give me the Jack Cole Plastic Man, and everybody else is a pale imitation of anything that of all of the genius that Jack Cole did back in the 40s, which is still phenomenal work, still holds up incredibly well. But DC doesn't want to reprint that stuff.
Just like Steve Ditko's Creeper and The Question, both of them.
Yeah.
The best versions of them were when Steve Ditko did them.
Yeah. Well, that's because he created them and he knew what he was doing.
Yeah. I don't even know who they are, and I'm agreeing with you because it's Steve Ditko. He's the perennial Spider-Man.
The Question, huh?
The Question.
The Question. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. The Creeper, the yellow guy with the
that guy. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, I apologize. I remember him now.
I always thought it was a feathered boa because that's
great
what it looks
characters.
like.
Yeah. And DC's reprinted all that stuff, but they're in expensive archive volumes on slick paper.
Yeah.
None of the kids are reading that now. And that's one of the things. I also ran across a video by Perch, I believe the guy's name was, where he was talking about where Marvel and DC went wrong, especially when it comes to digital. And he was holding up Shonen Jump as an example. And that's he had a very genuine point that Marvel and DC don't make a big deal about their stuff being online or being available digitally and being readable to an audience. They don't make them readable. They leave it the same price as a modern comic. The digital file, it's whatever, $4.99 or $3.99. Where Shonen Jump, it's what, $10 a month? I think, isn't it? It's some really low cost. You can read the entire back catalog of Shonen Jump over on their site if you want.
Well, didn't DC try that with DC Universe, but they really didn't tell anyone about it?
Yeah.
About the comic book option.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know how much of that they had available.
I think they actually still have it going on, honestly.
Do they?
I think it's still going. Yeah.
Anybody know? Tell us in the chat.
I don't know anything about that.
And Marvel had kind of the same thing, only I think it was $19.99 a month.
No, it was 10.
You had full access. Was it 10? Full access to their library?
Well, what was interesting about that?
And blended it with Comixology. Is it still going?
It's still going. In fact, what they ended up doing was trying to get more people to come over, because what it used to be was a 6-month window from when the book came out on the shelves. You had 6 months before it came out on Marvel Unlimited. Okay. Well, they shortened that to 3 months because I think they weren't getting what they were hoping for in there. Yeah.
Well, they're also during that period they weren't exactly printing stuff that people were biting at the bit to read. So
there's nothing really worth reading now. I haven't purposely bought a Marvel book in half a decade at least.
I bought a bunch of Marvel books about 2 years ago. Well, about right before the pandemic hit, and that's because Ollie's had an end run. Marvel and DC cleared out their warehouse and sold it all to Ollie's. Ollie's was selling it for like $3-4 a hit.
Wow.
So I picked up a bunch of stuff I was giving away at shows, at conventions. Hey, you want to read 6 issues of Ms. Marvel? I haven't read it, but here's a free book, that kind of thing. For only $3 or $4, it was a great deal. So Ms. Marvel.
Ms. Marvel. Okay, you really ruined their day, didn't you?
I hope not. But I read the first. I read the Kelly Sue DeConnick Captain Marvels that was out. The first book, the first 6 issues of that. There was one issue there that was pretty good. But the other 5 were just.
She annoys me, so I never get her stuff at Chants.
Yeah, well,
because her writing's all basically the same. Like it doesn't matter what character, what story. It's always I have a vagina. It's like, okay, we get it.
Well, she walked into the business on the back of Mark Millar, I believe, Mark Miller, who was doing, I think it was Miller or Gaiman, one of the two.
She was friends with
big
Warren
writers.
Ellis.
Maybe it was Warren Ellis.
Yeah.
They were doing an adaptation of Castle, whatever. It was manga.
Castlevania,
I think.
Castlevania.
Okay.
She came in scripting that from the Japanese.
Oh God! And I have a vagina. I'm gonna write because
that's basically all we're writing.
What is it? She did an independent book called Pretty Deadly.
Mm-hmm. I've heard of that. Yeah.
Emma Rios does some artwork in it, which is just phenomenal. Mm-hmm. So that's why I ended up reading that. I didn't really know. Honestly, I knew it was Emma Rios. I didn't know Kelly Sue DeConnick had anything to do with it. So, and then she had that bitch Planet. I couldn't even finish that.
Savage Avengers is the only set of characters they have not ruined yet.
Give it time.
According to
Give it time.
Pops, they've already lost the Conan licenses. So yeah, it's pretty done. So Conan, the Conan properties people came in and took the license back.
Wow.
From Marvel, they're done at the end of the year.
Fight too hard for it, because it's too
masculine.
Well,
that misogynist, masculine, that
example. Whoever took over the Conan whoever brought back the Conan rights, they didn't really help it out because in the latest Conan movie, Jason Momoa was Conan, and it's like Jason Momoa is like half of Schwarzenegger's leg. I'm like, are you kidding? It's like I'm watching like model like a catwalk Lobo. It's just like it's like, no, I'm Conan, and I'm sexy, and I'm Jason Momoa. And Jason Momoa is great at playing Jason Momoa and nothing else. So it's like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you putting this little skinny dude as friggin' Conan the Barbarian? He's supposed to be this monstrous thing. He doesn't look like a vegan. Come on, man.
That means they won't ruin it. Yay. I think it's too late, Pops. I think they already got a hold of it.
It's too late. Jason Momoa is like, well, that's another thing with a lot of actors, who portray these characters. Jason Momoa, Aquaman, and Dwayne Johnson, fucking Black Adam. They're just good at playing themselves. It's like Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool. It's like every single Ryan Reynolds movie I've ever seen for the last 10 years is fucking Deadpool. The last 3 Netflix movies that he's been in, it's like sequels to Deadpool. If you really think about it,
that was that good.
Free Guy.
Yeah, and it's like, well, what I'm trying to say is that it's just a continued homogenation of everything. That's the problem with a lot of comics these days, because they've just become homogenized, and they go along with what the movies have become. I think when the Avengers movie came out in 2012, Marvel Comics decided to model the continuity of the Avengers somewhat along the continuity of the movies, because then all of a sudden the Chitauri were a major threat for a while, and I'm like, who the fuck are these guys? It's like they showed. It's like I was too busy with the Korean Skrull War, and then all of a sudden it's like the Chitauri, and I'm like, who the fuck are these dudes, man? The comic Conan still hears a lamentation of the enemies. Movies do not matter to me. No, they don't matter to me either, to be honest with you, because you'll never have fucking Schwarzenegger there anymore.
Yeah, if you want to read really good Conan comics, pick up the Sumerian. from a blaze.
Who was the artist? Who was the artist for that one? Was it Buscema or Barry Windsor Smith or someone else?
For the Cimmerian, it's a collection of European artists. They give a different European artist one of the short stories, and they tell them to adapt it faithfully.
Nicely done.
And then they print the short story in the back, because in most of that material, most of the Conan material, is technically in public domain.
Is it public domain?
A lot of it
should
is.
be.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, because he wrote that stuff at the same time as Lovecraft, and Lovecraft stuff has been in the public domain for like 20 years now. Like his whole catalog, not just a few of them.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Well, the public domain is such a fuzzy gray area, and that's why
Is it really?
Diamond doesn't carry the Cimmerian book, but you can get it on Amazon. Beautiful hardback editions, 2 short stories per volume. There's 3 volumes out. The 4th one's coming out in September. And they've been adapting faithfully the Conan stories. I mean, right down to the word. It's all of the dialogue is there. It's Conan as Howard had written him a long time ago, not a sanitized version of Conan that was okay for general audiences. So it's pretty awesome stuff.
Well, now that we've said that, where do you, given what you've just been talking about, Randy, I mean, where do you see the major, the big 2 or whatever it might be, where do you see them 5 years from now?
That's a really good question, because I think everybody wants to say that the market's been in trouble just these last couple of years, and that's not true. The market
they've been saying that forever.
The market's been eroding for the last 30 years, ever since the direct market sprung up. Comics as an art form, especially here in the States, has been, in my opinion, very castrated as far as reaching a general audience.
Yeah, it has, especially since the Image style came out, in my opinion.
That just added to it.
It sure as hell did.
Image really took advantage of the direct market and the retailers, and granted, they're capitalism. They're allowed to make the money, and I'm not defaulting them at all. It's just the system that's the problem, and the fact that a lot of these corporations, especially the ones that control the larger icons, honestly don't care what's coming out in print. They do not care, as long as they can keep their icon alive and sell the underoos and the movies. The printed page can just go to hell. Everybody figures print is dead anyway.
Well, print's again.
It's really,
I don't think print is. I'll shut up. Go you first.
It's 3 a.m. for you.
It is.
Almost, yeah. We need to be careful. The creators of comics, the creators that do sequential art, we need to start speaking up. We need to start promoting not just ourselves, but the shit that we love, and the art form that we love, and the industry that we love. And playing stupid schoolyard games, being immature Beavis and Buttheads out there jumping up and trolling on Twitter, being twits on Twitter, does nothing for the art form. Nothing for your reputation, nothing for yourself. It may give you a small hint of attention whoring, give you a small amount of attention because you said something that everybody else goes through and retweets, but you're not helping the art form. There are other types of media that we have seen disappear that were hardcore entertainment media that have disappeared or have gotten close to disappearing, like the pulp magazine, like the Big Little Book, like the radio drama, that have used IPs that have gone the way of the dodo because people stopped caring and stopped listening. TV killed radio. The Big Little Books all dried up. Everybody's printing presses changed. There wasn't such a need to keep the presses wet. So, and comics boomed because they were a dime. And because the people were so abused, the talent was so underpaid for the amount of time and effort that they put into, that the corporations could run shotgun over them and literally print stuff off of their off of their sweat equity and off of their backs, with very little back to them in return. That's why we have heroes, the Hero Initiative, and you hear about every day somebody, a creator, passing, not every day, but all the time, a hero or a creator passing, or some golden, silver, bronze age comic creator, even not so bronze age anymore, that is destitute or having a hard time paying their bills and having a medical crisis or anything like that. When these guys should have been, and girls should have been, respected and had their butts covered for the ingenuity and the creativity that they did for these companies. You know, that the companies are literally making billions of dollars off of, you know, movies that are coming out now from comics from back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, that, you know, all of these great icons from these great creators that go practically unrecognized unless you're looking there at the credits, at the end credits, and you happen to catch that as it scrolls up the screen. Special thanks to all of these people that had help in creating all this shit that we made billions off of. These guys got little pats on the head, maybe a small chunk of royalty, really small, and then pushed out the door. You know, and you're seeing now all of these creators, all of these great creators from the 80s and 90s can't find work anymore because these editors are up there in these offices and they consider their work to be too nostalgic.
Yeah.
And they just won't sell when that's the audience is still there that bought them in the first place, and they just don't recognize it because they just refuse to see it.
I agree with you on that. A lot of the editors that have been hired over at Marvel ever since like the early aughts never worked in comics before.
Well, their idea, you ask, who was it? Sana Amina, I think it was, had an interview where they asked her what her favorite comics were. And she says, I got into comics watching the X-Men cartoon on Saturday morning. That was her whole, and most of these editors up there don't bother to read their history. They don't bother to know the characters that they have.
Yeah, but
I figured that out in the early aughts. I figured that out in the early aughts when I made pitches to a few editors up there at Marvel, and they looked at me straight in the eye and asked if they actually owned the character that I made the proposal. And I looked at them. I said, "Oh, really?" Okay. And then I said, "I'm done. I'm done. I won't pitch anything else out there." You know, and one of the pitches I made to Axel early on before he became higher up in the group.
Yeah, he's a weird bastard, that guy.
And he said, "Oh, this whole proposal features 3rd and 4th tier characters. We don't want to use those characters." And I says, "Oh, you mean a 3rd or 4th tier character like Blade was before the movie come out?"
Yeah.
And he gave me this like I had shoved a piece of shit under his nose, and you know, that conversation.
The stink guy.
Done.
Yeah.
Done.
Axel Alonso is a very odd individual. I don't think he smiles ever.
He's got his own company now. So.
Well, good for him. You know, I mean, I wonder how many puppies he's had to sacrifice and drink blood from in order to do that. You know, just it's like I don't care about a lot of the people
anymore. The thing about 3rd, 4th, and 5th tier characters is, I never thought in a million years that we'd have a highly rated TV show based on Peacemaker.
Yeah,
who's like
done real well.
Who wishes he was a 3rd or 4th tier character.
That was a scrap character I read as a kid sitting in the barber shop. Some at Charlton comic that was dog-eared and beaten up that he kept underneath the hunting magazines. You could come in and read comics while you were waiting to get your haircut. You know, that's how I discovered Peacemaker and Captain Adam and Blue Beetle.
Captain
Son
Adam
of Vulcan,
and Blue Beetle
Son of Vulcan as well.
Good characters. Captain Adam and Blue Beetle are actually good characters. You know, just
They're
Peacemaker was just
Peacemaker.
What else are you gonna do with the character in that costume? You know, if you do a true to the comics costume, which is what they did, you can't take that seriously.
Yeah, well, you look at John Cena, you can't take him seriously. I mean, the man is inflated. Yeah. Jesus Christ. I mean, he looks like the Michelin Man with all the right proportions.
Uh-huh.
I mean, holy shit, dude! If you really think about it, he looks like he looks like Peacemaker. He is pretty much Peacemaker.
Yeah.
But you have to admit, he does a really good job of being Peacemaker. Jesus Christ.
I was amazed.
What's his name?
Totally amazed at his comedic talent.
Oh, yeah. He's funny as fuck.
Absolutely amazed. Yeah.
Absolutely funny as fuck. And that's a classic example of like DC doing a really, really great job with a 4th or 5th tier character and all that stuff. He just made it into like this phenomenon. It happened to be really good, but let's see how well they do that, because you're right. I mean, they only have Black Adam coming out. Yeah. All the other movies have been like pushed ahead to 2023.
Well, they've had to because of all the scandals. They don't know what to do with the Flash movie now that Ezra Miller seems to have disappeared.
They may have to. I would shelve that movie, and I don't know why they fucking used Ezra Miller to begin with. You had Grant Gustin.
Yes.
You had Grant Gustin. What the fuck is the matter with you? You had the Flash. You had an actor who played the Flash for 5 or 6 years by the time you used him in Justice League.
There's a whole Flashpoint movie is what they did, and it's got Michael Keaton as Batman in it, and a few other so-called surprises that apparently they haven't mentioned yet.
So what I would do with
that is bring Grant Gustin in to do a bookend for it, some scenes at the start and scenes at the end, and have that you pass the Ezra Miller Flash off as a multiverse copy of the Flash that dies in the midst of the movie.
Yeah, that would be better, because fuck Ezra Miller. So he's done some freaky shit. He's done some really, really freaky shit that I've heard of recently. What he's done, he managed to groom a 12-year-old, groomed a young girl to not only be confused about her gender, but to abandon her parents.
Yeah,
and it's like, you're a creepy fuck. You're like in your 20s and you're doing this to a child half your age. You're a sick bastard. I don't fucking like this guy. I want to punch him in his fucking face.
I hear you. Max at Atrocity Press says Twitter is a ticking time bomb for your 15 minutes of shame.
It is.
Was that Chrissy?
Because he was like violent towards other fucking people, and then all of a sudden like women and all that, and then all of a sudden he's like found grooming 2 young girls. I'm like, what the fuck? Like
the first bad incident, they should have slammed the doors on that entire production and just said, done. Click.
Yeah.
We'll get Grant Gustin and they could probably get him at a decent price at this point.
They can get him at a fucking discount. Jesus Christ.
Movie, yeah.
Fuck out of here. They can get it for like peanuts.
Gonna save that movie. Yeah.
Well, maybe they'll like CGI his face in there and shit like that. It's like, oh, I'm Grant Gustin. Look at my face. It's on you.
Miss Rena's in the house. Hey guys. Hi, Miss Rena.
Hello, Miss Rena. Hello, Miss Rena.
Thanks for finding us. Deeply appreciate you. We are over there at that Ragin 2 YouTube channel. And hey, if you're watching us after the fact, make sure you hit that like button over there. It still counts. Leave a comment down below as well.
Guys, I'm literally falling asleep. I have to get going.
Catch that,
it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I will see all you cats later when I'm awake.
All right.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
Take care, Rich. We'll see you soon.
You will, man. Right. Bye.
Bye, Rich.
But yeah, we're watching now the entire industry up in flames, and you've got people out, and Michael sent me a video earlier today that was absolutely hilarious. That was fun to watch. About someone who said that they had picked up an American comic and had hated it, and read it for the first time. Big lover of manga, and took a little while to get used to reading right to left, up to down. It's like, well, did you ever go to school? Have you read any of your textbooks? Because everything that for college and that is in American, it's left to right, up to down.
Well, it still reads left to right as far as what the words are concerned. It's just following the panels. That's the difference.
It took me about an issue to figure it out. He said, oh, well, great for you. Sorry. Maybe you should read more comic strips or something here in the States. But
because I was reading American comics before manga, so
I think that's one of the worst detriments for manga. If manga was actually read left to right, up to down, their sales would probably be double at this point.
Well, they used to flip them back in the day.
It's probably a good thing. Yeah, they originally did. Yeah, back when they first brought manga here to the States, they flopped it, and then the artists over there were complaining. So
to be honest, I would too if my art was changed like that.
Well, there should be a way of accepting that, but they don't care about the American audience. The American audience is so small compared to the Japanese audience, and the people in anywhere else that are reading comics. The percentages are so disproportionately gone, compared to here in the States. We've had 50, 60, 70 years of comics being pointed as kiddie literature ever since the Code Authority popped in, and everybody trying to rebel against that as hard as they could until they flushed the code out in the 70s and probably 80s, early 80s. They finally got rid of the code and started the direct market, and then that narrowed everything down to an incredibly small demographic, mostly 25 to 55, mostly white, mostly male. And that's what Diamond purported to everybody, and that's what they pushed. Here's your audience. Your audience is this demographic. You need to do this. And so we missed out on entire generations of kids and female-oriented books. And there were still books out there. There were still women reading comics, obviously. But the choice for them was incredibly narrow compared to the male power fantasy and the superhero that was out during the 80s, 90s, aughts, 2010s, 2020s. Admittedly, the Image era really didn't cater that much to a female audience. Am I wrong?
Not much. No, you're right. 100%.
But before that, before Image kicked in, there was a great era there that nobody wants to pay any attention to, of great black and white books, of Fantagraphics just getting started and rolling with the Hernandez brothers and Love and Rockets. And before that, there was a great underground movement that was going through the head shops and select magazine stores that were fighting against the Comic Code Authority. In fact, doing as much outlandish adult material as they possibly could. But that's really where the alternative comics sprung out of, is from these undergrounds, and the fact that the direct market sprung up, and distributors like Bud Plant, Friendly Franks, Glenwood, Sunrise distributors, and that were looking for product to promote and to distribute. That's why Capital City was the darling of the independents, because they would stick a really cool sticker on it in their catalogs and intentionally draw attention to the independent books, because the independent books were really expanding the art form, just like the undergrounds did in the 60s, just like the pre-code books that are more adult oriented, just like the magazine runs in the 70s, your Warrens and your Marvel magazines that had adult themes in them, that were out expanding the audience in the marketplace.
Well, let me say something about one thing that he said that you should take from this, about what that guy said. He did make the statement that is based. What he read was the comic that he read was Volume 1 of the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
from IDW.
Yeah, from IDW, yeah. And it's a good comic.
And he was under the understanding that these are the Turtles from the 80s.
Yeah, well, maybe so. I don't know.
He didn't pick up the Eastman and Laird books. He picked up an IDW book.
Right, and see, the thing about that IDW book is they write to trade. And if you're reading manga, something usually happens within a story, because, like, for instance, Shonen Jump, you want something to happen within those few pages that keeps somebody coming back for more.
Well, they're intentionally designed to be at a quick clip, because they only get maybe a dozen pages per issue.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, for instance, during the 1950s is when comics were booming, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And look at how they were written. They weren't written with that idea of continually going. No. So he felt like he wasn't getting anything out of it without having to read 5 issues, and that's kind of slogging for him. And that's what the thing to take away from that is, that's what our youth is looking at now. When we were younger, we had television that was fed to us. If we had a favorite program, we had to wait for that so we could read books or whatever the case is. Now they can go and find something on streaming or whatever they want to do, so everything's fed to them quickly. And one of the things that he had a problem with was the reason why he had that amount of reading was because he wasn't getting the information quick enough. I mean, as sad as that might seem, but that's what we're dealing with now. That's your audience that's coming up now.
Well, that's very true, but he was also judging the entirety of American comics on an IDW book.
Oh, well, this is true too. That was his youthful ignorance on that. I wouldn't have picked Ninja Turtles.
That's most kids today.
Yeah,
but that's like taking a something completely out of context and applying it to pigeonholing it for the entire industry.
No, absolutely. But that's the thing about it is everything.
I'm sitting there and I'm watching the video and I'm thinking to myself, could there have been a worse book for you to have picked up, to have tried to read?
I wouldn't have given
as an example of American comics than a sloppy IDW book. You know?
And
these guys can't even hang on to their franchises.
Yeah. And as far as that's because I think it was Laird that wrote those. Am I right, Mitch?
I am not
the IDW, it was Eastman.
It was Eastman. And they're not bad. In fact, the thing about Turtles is you can pretty much recreate them as long as you keep the mutation the same. And it kind of has a spiritual element to them now. And it's not that they're horrible, but
you pointed out all of the characters and they were soulless.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, and which is kind of odd considering the fact that it was black and white to begin with when you came with the Ninja Turtles, and you could only tell them by their personalities.
No. You could only tell them apart by their weapons. They didn't have a distinctive personality to start with.
Not the first few issues. There was maybe 3 or 4 when they attempted like individual personalities.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like right off the bat or.
It took them a while.
A few issues.
But that's because the book was designed as a joke.
Yeah.
It was just designed to be a parody book that they did on a lark. They never expected to make an entire industry out of it.
Yeah.
Never
that's
in
why
their
the Shredder
when
dies
they first
the first
did it.
issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never thought that it would carry on for decades and be, the characters that they are now. So, and even then, they still don't stick to their personalities that much, do they? There's not a lot of characterization directly related to the Turtles in those books, is it?
Later on, but early on, they were all the same character.
I loved them early on. The black and white books to me are Turtles. Everything else is just a pale imitation, especially those Archie books. And those Archie books, there's a lot more of those Archie books out there than there are the black and white books. The Archie books off of the TV show, off of the cartoon.
Right. No, that's what Mirage Studios was putting out for a while. The Mighty Manimal was it Mutables?
Mutables?
What's that? Yeah, with
Messables.
Huh? No,
the Mighty Messables?
No. The Mighty. You had the different. You had Mondo Gecko and the Stingray and everything. They were coming out with. The Mutanimals? The Mighty something like that. But
yes, absolutely yes.
Well, you still had some fantastic art in that. Like when Kid Mitch Rooney was doing a lot of that artwork.
I've looked at the line, and if you had Scott Roseman showing up for today's show, you are half correct.
Hey Scott, what's up?
Hey everybody! I figure. Not only better late than never, but better something. I have no.
You're more awake than Rich Parada, who was here earlier.
Oh, was he? He was lurking about too, eh?
Yeah, his eyes were a lot puffier than yours too. It was all right. He was mumbling and rambling on. So.
Well,
decided
good.
He had to go to bed. It was 3 a.m. his time. So.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
And the sun was about to come up too. He was going to show us the sunrise.
Yeah, I'm mad.
15 minutes,
I'm mad.
He
left
forgot
before he did that. Yeah.
Is he on UK time?
Yes.
Yes.
He's in UK.
He's in London. Or I say London. He's in UK.
England. He's just an hour away from everybody over there.
Okay.
As is everybody else, I guess. According to Glenn Fleming. Scott Roseman, introduce yourself.
Scott Roseman here. Longtime pro in the comics industry since '87. I've loitered and lurked about Marvel, DC, Valiant, Disney, Warner Brothers, DreamWorks, all kinds of places.
Speaking of dumpster fires, we were talking about the industry earlier.
I like that. Dumpster fire, that's a good way of putting it. Well, I knew you were going to be talking about that, and luckily well, not too lucky, I don't have anything to add to it until I know more about what you guys have said.
You brought your fire extinguisher along with you? No, we're still at the complaining and pointing fingers stage. So.
Well, I know one thing I'll say, and I don't even think it's going to matter at this point, but I had a terrible sense of blame heaped on Joe Quesada back when he first kind of took the reins the way he did, editor-in-chief and all that.
Mm-hmm.
He was the one, he seemed to be spearheading this whole thing about we really need to hire nothing but young guys because all the older creators have lost their voice, he remember saying. And
did he actually say that?
Oh yeah, he was recorded as actually saying it in an article, and he's quoted. And he said that, and he says nothing wrong with that. Hey, someday I'll lose my voice, and it's just the way things go.
Oops.
Now he's gone.
which is easy for somebody like him to say, considering he probably has a pretty fat little pension program from Marvel for being editor-in-chief. So you can afford to say, hey, I lost my voice, but you still get a hefty.
They call that a golden parachute, Scott.
Yeah.
That's what
so I always thought that was pretty low on his point to have all these perfectly capable creators back then. And he's basically saying, hey, we just don't want you anymore because you've lost your voice. We want nothing but young and vibrant creators. And I think, God, what a bunch of horse shit that is.
So they get the person in charge of creative projects. The only history of Marvel that they know is they got their start watching the X-Men cartoon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. And it was just terrible. I mean, I think about all the older guys back then who, and this is what, the mid 90s he did that? Late 90s?
Somewhere. Marvel Knights, Marvel Max, somewhere in there. Yeah.
And they keep thinking that's not only horrible. I mean, there's something almost, it smacked of illegality to me, because that's practicing ageism.
Well, that's been going on for in comics for a long time. The pump 'em and dump 'em mentality has been a central point for corporate comics.
Oh yeah, and I just always thought that was just a terribly shitty thing to do, and so I've always had a bit of a lump in my throat about that towards Quesada.
But new talent is cheaper.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Now they just go out and hire overseas or Argentina or wherever, where the cost of living is half of what it is here in the States.
Yeah, and granted, that started way back in the 70s when DC brought in a lot of the Filipino artists. I don't know if they got paid less, but they certainly were given a lot of the work. And granted, they did really good quality work too, no doubt about it. But a lot of those guys were here in the States too, because back then you had to mail your artwork in. That's true too.
And they had to hit deadlines. That's
true. And those guys were good at doing that. I mean, they were a good quality group of guys, no doubt about it. But the idea
really, I think Jim Warren was the one who first found all those guys.
Oh yes,
and there was some really notable, great talent working.
Oh God, terribly talented.
Yeah. Oh. Esteban Maroto and Alcala and Alex Nino, who's a personal favorite of mine. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
love his work.
Yeah, Gonzalez and all kinds of great talented guys. Nestor Redondo was another one.
Well, I was watching a video where somebody was complaining, saying that they weren't making a living. They wanted to work in comics and they weren't making a living, and they had shown their stuff to an editor, and the editor flat out told him to get out of the business. Get out, and no matter how talented he lived in the States, he was never going to get work, or he's never going to get enough work to make a living.
No kidding. Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
It says, "Are you looking for a living you can make here in the States, or are you overseas somewhere? Because if you're overseas somewhere, we could pay you our standard page rate, and you could make a living." But you can't do that here in the States because their page rate wasn't livable. You couldn't live on their page rate.
Wow.
He just said your best bet is to He said your best bet is to get out of the industry.
Wow. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Go someplace where you can make a living. Well, I've gone outside of the so-called industry. I made good money in advertising, doing sequential artwork, doing educational artwork.
Oh, definitely.
There is a lot of good money to be made, especially now, because you've got all of these movies coming out, and people, granted, they still have a preconceived notion of what makes up a comic, but you can use that to your advantage sometime when it comes to advertising or doing outside illustration work or educational work. You can do it in comic book form and make a decent amount of money at it. Yeah.
In years past, I've done comic books for big corporations, and their pockets are as deep as you want. I mean, I
charge them like a lawyer.
Oh God, yeah. It was great money when I was doing it, because it they were saying to me, "Oh, we can only pay you so much," and it's like 4 or 5 times that I was getting from any of the big comic companies.
Well, if you are,
is that all? Golly,
if you are a creator out there doing work like that, make sure you familiarize yourself with advertising illustration rates before you go and quote a job. You're still going to be low.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But quote it anyway and make that money.
Oh sure.
It's not like working in comics where you're getting 125 a page. You can get paid by the hour.
Oh yeah.
Doing advertising work.
Well, how do you fall into that though?
That's the key. You go out and look for it.
Yeah. Oh, I did a lot of footwork, legwork, looking for these jobs. And
when I printed, and here we go again. When I printed Flint Comics and Entertainment, I ran an 1/8 of a page ad with my phone number in it, looking for commercial work. There were times I couldn't work on the paper. My original stories, original art stories, disappeared from the paper for a couple of years because I kept doing commercial work, because they were picking up the paper and seeing my ad and calling me up for comic book work, or advertising, or for whatever else. I got a lot of really good gigs off of that ad. And yet these idiot marketers up there with these larger companies come in and take over. These kids fresh out of college take over their marketing department and decide that print's dead. It's like, really?
Oh yeah.
You're gonna tell me that? Well, you can tell me that, but I'm on deadline right now where I'm charging this guy like $100 an hour or $75 an hour to do a couple pages of comic art for him. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Print's dead. It's all good.
I think in terms of getting into that, you have to have a really strong portfolio of comic book work. And I will say this: a lot of the ad companies back then, and I'm sure it's probably still true now, they usually like seeing comic book work that reminds them of what they think comics, what they know comics used to be like when they were younger.
Yes,
which means a Neil Adams look, or a John Buscema look, or a Kurt Swan look.
Commercially accessible look.
Yeah, very, very.
You can't come in there drawing Witchblade and expect to get ads for a corporate instructional manual.
Oh no, yeah, because I would. Here I have one right here. I did this book here. It's called The Guardian. It was a comic book about how to make sure your pool was plenty safe in your yard. How to become a guardian of pool safety. And this was, and it was, and I did it in this almost Archie Comics type, way. And it was,
That's cool.
Yeah. And it all had to do with, and it's centered around the fact that this company, makes specialty drains in the bottom of pools where people, especially kids, don't get caught in the drain and the vacuum of the drain in the bottom of the pool and drown. So, they were. It was all about defeating the Guardian. This superhero version of kind of like an Iron Man type version of the pool safety thing.
I was going to say he looks like he doesn't have a nose.
Yeah, exactly. you know, promote this safety trap that keeps kids from getting trapped at the bottom of the pool.
Yeah, look at that.
This whole thing was done that they put these out in all the different stores and centers around the country that sold this pool safety thing. Mm-hmm. And they printed, I don't know, a couple 100,000 of these things.
Hundreds of thousands
And
copies.
they were just giving them away on the counter of these pool places for kids and for anybody who wanted to learn about the Guardian, especially. And it had things like, you know, they had little puzzle pages here and, you know, but yeah, and they paid me, oh God, this was awesome. I mean, this was, I think I got paid like $450 a page if I could just reveal, you know, things. And so this was just, you know, it was a good 2-3 months worth of
and that's about double top-notch professional rates now at a corporate comic company.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And
they just, you know, because they had, you know, here they had advertisers in it that would you know, put ads in there, you know, pitching their company and all this, and you know, $450 a page is nothing for them. I mean, they don't, you know, that's nothing. You know, they sell a couple of these pump systems and they make, you know, 15 times that.
Yeah.
You know, but these are fun things too. Like, can we zoom in on this page? This thing here where they had me, you know, pose as superhero, saying, "Hey kids, try your luck at this crossword puzzle." You know, all the words about pool safety and everything. And it was just, you know, it was a great project. And it's just one of the things where, you know, I get this phone call. "Hey Scott, I've seen your work, and I would like to do a comic about pool safety." All right, sure, fine.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's where, yeah, I mean, if you really want to make a living doing, I've done a lot of advertising and illustration in that respect. And, you know, a lot of these, I've done covers for magazines, and, you know, they see my work at the time, and they were constantly apologizing to me, saying, "I can only pay you $1,500 for this illustration. I hope that's enough." So, oh my God, are you kidding?
Yeah.
That's like one page of comic artwork, and you're going to pay me $1,500.
I think that'll be fine. Yeah.
I think that's okay. So yeah, it's you know, there's a lot of money to be had outside of mainstream comics. A lot.
Doing comics outside of
doing comic book work. Yeah. So, but I would say in order to find it, it's you have to produce a portfolio and then find it. And then I remember I bought a page in an advertising annual, which cost you a couple $1,000s to do that. But your work then gets in front of all these ad directors, you know, art directors and ad agency managers and buyers and all this. And it's, you know, it's not always, it doesn't always come in. That work doesn't always come in. That wasn't a regular thing for me. You know, this would appear every so often. But, yeah, you know, it doesn't need to happen more than a few times a year, and you can, you know, keep the lights on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
easily get those bills paid.
Yeah. See, Michael, are you fainting there? Or you're out of? Oh, there you are. You're out of the
he's
view.
Falling asleep. We're all falling asleep. What's going on?
Didn't know if you were watching or anything.
The paper was like a business card. Every edition of the paper that was out there was like another 10,000 impressions sitting out there for people to pick up, and you never know who's going to find it, who ran across it. And I got a lot of really good work off that. I still have a couple of clients that I deal with now, even though the paper has been shut down for 3 or 4 years, that I still keep getting work from. So,
oh yeah, definitely. So, what was all the mainstay of the topics here, Christie? What were you talking about before I loitered in?
About random stuff. I mean, I have this triggered as now a paperback. It's
awesome.
I just today, and it looks really sexy. And I'm going to start sending them out tomorrow. I'm going to put an update because it looks like the pins, the patches, the charms, and everything are kind of come at the same time.
Oh, so, awesome!
Yeah,
awesome.
It's great. Yeah, so it's been really good. Had some interesting news happen today, but I won't get into that. But it's been interesting. But
more drama.
Do we?
Yeah, I know, but
drama from the drama llama. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting on that level. But at the same time, I'm kind of going like, well, I'm going to go start probably fulfilling orders tomorrow of what I can do. So I'm going to do the ones with the prints and the book tomorrow, and I'll deface all the books and everything. I think this was under my cat's ass, so that I'll give to Randy.
That goes to me. Sure. I'll have my cat. I'll leave it on my nightstand and have my cat sit on it as well. He'll probably sniff it. Who knows?
I'm gonna ask you a question out the blue.
No editorial comments there.
Yeah. Other than that, I'm going to fulfill the orders, and I'm waiting on a few other of the books because some people bought more than this. They bought the rest of my books, so I'm going to order some more books tomorrow. There's other books that are coming in too. So
excellent.
This is Christie's fourth book.
The fourth book yet? Oh, awesome.
The hardcover has not arrived yet. It should be coming soon. I have to see the update because they said it was going to be in the first week of July, but it's actually coming sooner than that. So I think the hardcover is slated for the first week of July, but I will see.
Oh, okay. Now, is that running through a crowdfunder?
Yeah, it's run through Kickstarter.
Yeah. We're watching the entire industry shift now, and I don't know if we're becoming more of a cottage industry. Well, I think we are, obviously, through crowdfunding. We're growing our own audiences. We're not being distributed through a regular chain of retail stores, which we should be. It's a lot of the stuff out there that's being crowdfunded is so much better in quality than the stuff I'm seeing coming out of a lot of the mainstream companies.
True. I can believe that.
And there's still a lot of independent and alternative folks like yourself who are out there printing books and circulating them as best they can without having to put up with the frustrations from Diamond or the other or any other distribution type system. There's still plenty of creative ways out there just waiting to be found for folks doing comics that don't necessarily go through normal channels.
Mm-hmm.
So and I think it's up to us as creative people to go out there and find that. It's up to us as creative people to go out and expand this market. Because the more people that come into crowdfunding, the more money comes in.
Well, has anybody ever taken that crowdfunding money and put it towards advertising?
I have no idea.
Because I'll be honest with you, I don't ever see anybody's independent advertising on anything.
No, I think the only way that a lot of the crowdfunders get any type of publicity at all is through podcasts like this, and people pointing them to their specific campaigns.
Yeah. Well, the fact that in the heydays of Marvel, DC, Archie, Charlton, Gold Key, all those things, I mean, they had that ready-made built-in distribution system.
Yeah,
that went to all the newsstands and grocery stores and drugstores and all. Everybody carried a comic rack or a newsstand that carried comics on it. A magazine rack.
Absolutely.
And if you had the money, because you needed quite a bit of money to start up anything, but once you were able to start, produce, and deliver a whole number of comics, there was a system you could plug into, and it got out to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people.
And even back then, they were finding different ways of getting a sequential out that didn't necessarily go into those racks.
Yeah.
You had a whole series of black and white magazines, publishers out there printing tons of black and white magazines. And even Marvel was amongst those. Warren's and the little guys, Skyline, I think they were called. Yeah. There was just a whole group of folks doing black and white comic magazines.
Yeah,
out there,
and so the whole magazine distribution system was, and it's still in place, but it doesn't go out to nearly as many places as it used to.
Yeah, I was surprised that I found a Warrant, WARRANT publishing, that Don Glut is almost, I would say, probably pretty much in charge of. I think he's editor-in-chief and main contributor, that are patterned after the Warren magazines.
Oh, yes, I've seen that.
There's
Didn't
one
they get sued?
What's that?
The Warrant Company, because they had Creeps magazine for a while.
Yeah, they changed that name.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I know they got sued by whoever owns the license for Warren.
Yeah,
Because
there were a couple
they were
of
really
creeps.
skirting. They were skirting the edge about
Yeah.
being very much like the original Warren line.
Oh yeah,
There's
no.
good
When I
stuff,
first
though.
saw it, I thought it was a Vampirella. I'm like, what is this? And it's Vampress Carmilla. I think it was called.
That's awesome.
Vampress Carmilla.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was a great magazine. $6. I bought it. So it was only $6, and it was like an old Warren magazine. About 7 stories in it. Each story was anywhere from 3 to 7 pages long.
Yeah, it was
great stuff.
I've seen it. Yeah, I actually contributed to his. Oh no, not the same guy. It was another guy. Some other guy's doing something like Warren used to do. And that classic old black and white format.
This guy had an entire library of back issues and everything. I'm not sure if he was still selling the old Creeps magazine. I think he changed the title to Shudder.
Yes,
Shudder.
So.
Yeah,
I believe so. Mitch, when did that lawsuit come into play?
I know he's got sued a few years ago. Like not too long before the pandemic happened. So I don't know if the pandemic stretched things along, but
probably
if it hasn't been too long, it's been fairly recently.
I would be surprised if it even got shuffled out of, amongst all, because everything just went upside down and during the worst of COVID. So,
yeah. But he's still out there. I think he's producing 6 issues of Vampress and 6 issues of Shudder a year.
Is he really?
Yeah. And that's all going through the Barnes and Nobles, some of the bookstores. The magazine distributors are still distributing it.
Wow, I wonder how he. That's got to
cost $5.95 a magazine.
Man,
he just has to take returns. That'd be the thing.
Oh, okay.
and I hope he is taking returns. We took returns on the paper.
Sure.
For the longest time, I just gave them away at other shows, but I could see him taking returns. I don't know how the distributor would work as far as full returns goes, and binding them together into bound volume books. That would be kind of hot.
I would love to know how how he can fund creating that much material. I mean, finding the talent's not the problem. I mean, there's tons of good talent out there.
Talent's probably the bottom of the concern. He's probably paying next to nothing for people to do.
But funding the printing, and then of course I don't know what the deal is with Barnes and Nobles. I don't know if they.
And again, you're printing on newsprint. As long as you're printing a decent, it looks like the old Warren magazine, saddle stitched with a cover.
Oh, okay.
Kind of a glossy cover on it, but most of it's it's better quality newsprint. It's not like the solid white newsprint that we would put on there, but more like the interior, because it's black and white. All of the interiors are black and white. There's even another company out there that's doing a magazine that's really close to Famous Monsters of Filmland.
Oh wow!
And it's the photograph quality in there is about the same. So I opened it up. I went, man, this looks like one of those old fanzines, like the old Forrest J. Ackerman Famous Monsters books. It was terrible. It's kind of cool. It was very nostalgic, but it was pretty cool.
We got a grayscale range of about 3 degrees,
I just looked up online the lawsuit, and I have a LA Daily News article from October 2020 that talks about it. The lawsuit between Creeps and Creepy, or Warren and Warren.
Okay.
Yeah, it was.
I'd be interested to know if it was resolved and which direction it was resolved.
It doesn't say it in the article. I was basically just saying that the lawsuit was filed. Let me see if there's a resolution to it. Oh, owner of horror magazine Creepy settles infringement lawsuit.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I have to pay for the article.
Okay. Oh, one of those.
Never mind.
But anyway.
Yeah.
But that, again, the funding of producing that much material, that much, content and getting it out, I would love to know, how this person is doing that. I mean, that's 12 issues a year, 6.
I would love to know his sales. I bet he's selling a lot overseas, though.
Oh, there's that too. I wonder how.
Could be because anywhere else but here in the States, he's probably getting decent distribution.
Well, I imagine.
And here with the magazine distributors, he's the same size as a regular magazine. Looks like a Warren publication.
Okay.
So in fact, some of the poses and everything, the ad layouts are almost exact.
Oh,
I
no
mean,
kidding.
just like those old Warrens. Yeah.
Oh.
I don't. I got it upstairs right now, but I'm definitely going to keep looking for more issues of that stuff, and I'll be picking it up because it looks cool, and like I said, for me especially, it's very nostalgic to my youth.
Yeah.
I discovered a lot of great art and from those old Warren magazines. I found the spirit through the Warren magazines.
Oh yeah. When they started reprinting all that Will Eisner stuff, is just, oh my God. And the fact that Eisner was producing new covers, for the Warren reprints, that was amazing to me. That he did
those covers that he did for Kitchen Sink were just amazing.
Oh my God,
that was more for the direct market. That was just phenomenal stuff. Yeah.
Oh, it's awesome. Do any of us know how a person can tap into like that Barnes and Nobles kind of situation?
That's magazine distributors, straight up, like Ludington Daily News. That does it around our state.
Okay. And then it'll be that type of connection that would get into Barnes and Nobles nationwide.
But the impression I got from looking at he had a Frazetta cover too on the magazine.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, I would love to know how he wrangled that.
Yeah, he's had,
talk to the estate and lease the rights to print one of the stuff. Yeah, Richard Corbin's been on a couple of them.
No kidding.
But he had them all. You know how Warren used to show all of their covers and say, send us whatever, $6 and $6 in shipping, and we'll ship you $6 an issue plus $6 in shipping, and we'll mail whatever you want to you, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
he had a couple of those ads in there.
That's amazing to me. That's absolutely amazing, because it's not it cannot be cheap to get the rights to use a Frazetta on your cover. I mean, it just
he probably leased the print rights for the cover. I don't know how much it costs, but his estate's probably open for it. It wasn't one of his bigger paintings, but it was recognizably Frazetta, and it was signed by him.
Sure.
Down at the bottom.
Well, the Frank's estate, his kids, they're not going to let that stuff go for cheap, no doubt.
Yeah.
Well, they might even have a standard rate that they haven't changed in 10, 20 years, which would then make it really cheap. You never know.
Relatively speaking, yeah.
They're just getting the rights to print the image on the cover. So.
Amazing. Unbelievable.
I don't know. You never know until you ask on that thing. When I started the paper, I thought getting syndicated comic strips was going to be expensive, and it wasn't.
No, really.
It's just getting the respect of your representative to take you seriously.
Wow.
That was the bigger challenge than how much you're going to charge me. Especially when it came to like adventure strips and that, because I would go through their catalog and go, hey, you carry Judge Dredd and James Bond. I'd love to print them in the paper. Well, we don't have those. That's just on the site. And then my rep retires. New rep comes in, asks if there's anything they can do for me. I says, yeah, I'd love to carry Judge Dredd and James Bond if you can get a hold. She went, adventure strips? Are you kidding me? I said, no, I'd carry them. I'd print them. And she says, and then there's silence, and the rep goes, I don't even know if we carry North American rights for those. Let me check. I'll check and call you back. And she called me back and said, do you want them? I said, heck yeah, I want them. So we ran Judge Dredd and James Bond from issue 15 on.
To the very end of the paper?
Comics.
Oh,
pardon?
No kidding.
In the paper, yeah.
No, but to the very end of the paper?
I think I ran Bond until the end of the story. I think it was in the high 90s.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But the reprints had flipped over because the James Bond strip does. It started out being an adaptation of the Ian Fleming novels, and then it was stories with the movie James Bond.
Oh, wow.
And that's when it got a little bit more salacious, and the girls were topless through most of the strips and that kind of stuff. And I had to go through and edit them very carefully and emphasize the G strings and put little bikinis on them, or else I would have angry mom letters besiege.
You actually did touch-ups on the strips yourself?
I did. I had to.
Oh my gosh.
Because it was either that or not print them, and I wasn't not going to print them.
Yeah, really.
The majority of that stuff was really great art. And then it rolled over. Once it rolled over, you had it was the guys who ended up doing Modesty Blaze. I mean, that's the quality of artwork you got. Adapting Ian Fleming novels. So it's like no brainer. I'm going to run those. So I ran the majority of those.
So you had to put on your own version of Saul Brodsky's hat from the old Marvel production days.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Saul would do all that.
But and they still do that. You pick up the essentials, the essential Tomb of Draculas, where they go through and they reprint the black and white Marvel material, but they go through and draw bikinis on all the girls.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because they sold those books in the bookstore, and they were, heaven forbid they have some kid buy Tomb of Dracula Essential number 4. Take it back and have their parent open up, and there's a pair of floppy titties running around.
Well, I always thought
that would not do. Yeah.
Oh no, we can't. Matter of fact, they were so strict. They were so worried about any kind of trouble. Is that they took some of the ads that they ran in the Marvel comics, like the ad of the very young Schwarzenegger, and he's got 2 bikinied women on his arm.
Yeah,
and they actually filled in the cleavage of the bikini for the gal. She couldn't even have this, low cut cleavage thing. So they filled in this polka dotted patch over where her cleavage was. Mm-hmm. And I just thought that was hilarious. You think, really? You don't even want to show cleavage? Oh my God.
Heaven forbid you get an angry mom letter, because those are the worst. Those are the worst.
Which I always found funny, because my mom never once looked at my comics. She could you care less what I was looking
at. In the newspaper, I could run the worst violence that you could ever. I ran zombie stories in there at one point.
Oh, yeah.
Did all sorts of just crazy violent. No mom letters.
No.
But I print one James Bond that has a picture of an exotic dancer, and she's got daisies for pasties over her breasts. And some mom mistook that for a misshapen areola.
Oh my God.
And she got all of the other moms all in an uproar, and I ended up having to dodge letters for a couple of months. And then the local Deja Vu was having superhero weekends.
Oh my God.
Where all the girls were dressing up as superheroes. It was a great time. It was a phenomenal thing to do. And they wanted to take out ads. They paid full price, half-page ad. I told them I was going to put it inside the back cover. And please don't give me anything that you wouldn't find in a modern comic.
Yeah.
In the ad. And they did. They gave me great pictures of, it was image style females, but they were all covered. They were in bikinis and that. My problem with the ads, I found out from the moms, was that they printed the words live and nude and entertainment all in a row. And some mom is tucking their kid into bed, and she happens to look down at the Flint Comics that's opened up to the back page and sees that live and nude and entertainment all in a row. And that starts another barrage of angry mom letters.
Oh my God. And that reminds me of
and I'm like, have you driven down Door Highway? They have these huge signs that are like from Blade Runner.
Oh yeah,
that have live, nude, entertainment for anybody to read. Here, yeah. I've got it in maybe 3/4 inch type on the ad, and that's throwing you into a tizzy. Great,
yeah, exactly.
And it took her seriously. And once the paper died. Once the paper stopped being printed, she apparently was driving down Dort Highway and saw that and started another angry mob against those signs and lost.
Well, yeah, I mean,
it just went away after a while.
Yeah, and you just never know what's going to set some of these people off. I for a while, years back, I was part of a Saturday morning radio show here locally, and they were it was at the height of the talk radio thing, so they needed to have. This local station wanted so much to have something besides Rush Limbaugh on their station and all this. Mm-hmm. And so they heard about me, and I'd been on radio shows before as a guest and all this. And they liked the fact that I was, chatty Cathy and all that. So they had me on this Saturday morning show that would review local movies, especially the superhero movies.
Okay.
And I went on there one time, and they told me, okay, we're having you on because we want to see if we can't get our phones to light up with people calling in to show interest, so we can, have better advertisers or attract advertisers. So you need to try and get people to listen. All right. So I went on there, and they didn't really give me any things I couldn't say. Uh-oh. So I was on there one time, and I was talking with the other DJ, and we're bantering back and forth. And there we were discussing some news item about, the the birth of kids at the time were going up locally and all this. And he turns to me and says, "You have any kids, Scott?" I go, "No, I don't have any kids." "Did you ever want to have kids?" He says, "No." And I just said, without missing a beat, "No, I'd rather get a dog." and the thing is, it just kind of went past everything. And you should have seen the phones light up for the next 3 days in that radio station. "Oh, I can't believe that. Scott's like, he hates children. How can you have anybody on your show that hates children?" All I do is say, "I'd rather have a dog than have children." And it just, and they pulled me aside and says, "You can't say that kind of stuff." I said, "You told me you want to get people calling in. Well, you've got the most phone calls in the past 3 days, and you've had apparently the last 6 months."
That was Twitter before Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it just was astounding to me that they
take all the stuff out of context that you possibly can.
Yeah, they assumed I hated children. I said, "No, I don't hate them. I just would rather have a dog." It was just, oh my God, it was just crazy, absolutely insane. And I just, they wanted me to apologize and all this. I'm not going to apologize. I love dogs. I want to get a beagle, and I went talking about it a little further, later on. But, well, you never know what's going to set somebody off.
No, you never do.
You apologize for that. It's like, what, that you just want a dog?
Yeah, really? Am I supposed to apologize for that?
Oh, but you hated kids. That was the thing.
Yeah, apparently.
Oh,
I'm not talking about feeding the kids to the dogs. I just,
You could just say, "I hate those little fuckers," and I hope you should. I think we should make pudding out of them or something. I don't know. It's just like they were going to get that butt hurt over like a fucking thing. I guess it'd make it worth it or something.
I know.
I love children as long as you have the right barbecue sauce.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're probably upset because they had children and not dogs.
So probably, yeah. If they would have had a dog, they might have known it.
I had the choice. And
some people, I just think, go out of their way to be offended.
Well, too. Very much so, yes.
I mean, because someone's saying, "Nah, I'd rather have a dog than children." I mean, to me, that doesn't strike me as, "Oh, you hate children, you want them to die." It's like, "Oh, he probably prefers having a dog than having a child." Okay, I mean,
because it's probably easier taking care of a dog than a kid most of the time. So.
It's essentially what I was saying. I just don't like them.
But
you think about people online, there are all these people that just post these endless photos of their favorite cat and their favorite pet, and I think that's wonderful. I never once think to myself that they don't like children. They just they just like their pets. They like the cats. They like the hamsters or whatever. But boy, oh boy, some of these people. I had no idea that the people locally around here were so set on.
Well, that's what I don't get. It's like, I mean, I would like to have kids, but the thing is, some people go like, "Well, if you say you don't want to have kids, you're selfish." I'm like, well, at least they admit that they just don't want children.
Yeah.
Selfish to have kids, don't want them anyway. Like, what the fuck?
I actually work with somebody who says that, and it's like, really? I mean, if you don't want to devote your life to somebody else's life, that's your business. I don't see you necessarily being selfish on that. You say, "Oh, you don't want to have kids," well, you're selfish. But yet, I go on missionary trips and help, Doctors Without Borders and everything. But because I don't have kids, I'm selfish. What does that freaking mean?
Exactly. I just considering I've taught hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of children in in special ed classes or community ed classes for art and everything, and I've devoted a lot of my life to children and helping them and giving them opportunities and stuff. But it just, I just think these people that you were so upset about that, I figured they must really be miserable.
Yeah.
They automatically take that as a hatred and just absolutely astounding.
Like somebody said earlier, they're just looking for an excuse. I think Mitch said it. They're looking for an excuse to get triggered. That's all.
Yeah.
And they take stuff out of context just so that they can get mad. So,
yeah.
And
they could be trapping a lot of rabbits and hares with those kind of trigger traps.
Yeah.
Bear trigger. Get it? Oh, wait a second. Oh.
Right over our heads. We are quickly approaching the top of the hour. Scott, why don't you tell folks how they can find you? It's time for us to be moving along.
Hey, I have got errantry, my own comic book. Sword and sorcery and fantasy and dragons and sword fights and evil kings and all kinds of fun stuff. You can find this online at my Facebook page, Scott Roseman on Facebook, and you can get it for $6 a copy, probably about $4 shipping. So $10 to PayPal. Use my email, the old-fashioned timstudio@aol.com.
There we go.
Then send that. You can deposit in PayPal with my email, and get yourself a copy of Errantry to add to your collection today.
And you're going to have those available until they're gone.
Every single one of them. Yes.
So if you're watching this outside of the date of the live ZimmCast, rest assured you can still get that book from Scott.
That's true. Very
Mitch,
much.
Yes.
very much. Tell folks how they can find you.
You can find me at Linktree/Celtic Cross Studios. There you find my website, my web comics, everything else.
Sweet.
Linktree.
Christie, tell folks how they can find you.
Linktree at horrortourstudios.com, and Triggered has just come in.
That looks cool.
And we'll soon be
it's really
fulfilled.
cool. Yeah, I'm going to be fulfilling the orders, but I got plenty others. So if you guys want to order some more, that's coming in, and the hardcovers are going to be $10 more. This is $35, and I'll deface them, but I'm getting more of the hardcovers. So
with derogatory remarks.
Did you say you'll deface them?
Yes.
I'll just sign them.
Oh, I see.
I'm getting ready this because my black cat sat on it, and it was underneath her ass. But I'm getting all the other stuff for the Kickstarter fairly soon, so it looks like it won't be long.
That is awesome.
I'm going to be fulfilling the book and print order only right now.
Excellent.
See, tell folks how they can find you.
As always, Linktree, C. Michael Lanning has all my links to social media and dispatches from outside the box every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern.
And your theme next week will be
Grimm's Fairy Tales.
Grimm's Fairy Tales. Yeah.
The classic Grimm's Fairy Tale or the comic series?
No, the classic. Yeah.
The cartoon
no
show.
kidding. Wow.
The cartoon show.
Wow. Excellent.
Yeah. And you'll have to find a couple of those Jay Ward cartoons and run some clips. No?
Is that what they called those? Grimm's Fairy? It was
Grimm's Fairy Tales. Weren't they?
Or was it Fractured Fairy Tales?
Oh, it's Fractured Fairy Tales. You're right.
Oh, that's the what he used to show in
my mistake.
Bullwinkle.
Yeah,
yes.
Bullwinkle.
Yes.
Rocky.
Those
Yeah.
were awesome.
Hey, everybody, I've been your host, Randy Zimmerman. This is the close of another ZimmCast. We didn't quite cover the topics that I wanted to get done today. In fact, I had done up a card for everybody when talking about how this entire industry needs to either grow up or shut the fuck up. But maybe we'll cover that next week. That's
There we
right.
go.
We'll cover
Too many man babies in this industry. Too many people crying about stuff. Too many people pulling stupid stunts, infantile, immature crap and attention whoring that just needs to stop. If you love this art form like we all do, then treat it with the respect and the love that it deserves. And tell your friends. Give comics as gifts. Everybody has a birthday. There's Christmas, half a year away. Give them away for Halloween too, if you want.
Yeah.
There you go.
Spend your time creating and promoting, not bitching about it.
Spend your time creating and promoting.
Yeah.
And then find ways of getting this great art form out in front of people. Don't let it become the next vinyl record or the next radio drama or the next pulp magazine or big little book or whatever that form of entertainment that slowly fades into nothing. Don't let that happen.
Yeah.
There's too many people out here that love this art form. There's too many people out here that want to make livings doing this art form. Because once you do it, once you print it once you see your book on the stands, once you hold it in your hands physically, that's when you decide if you're going to do this for the rest of your life. And most of us have already had that pleasure. And that's what we're going to do. And you're hearing every day, and R.I.P. Tim Sale. And
yeah.
For passing. Another great comic artist just passed this year alone. We've lost George Perez, Neil Adams, and now Tim Sale.
Oh,
and then I'm sure there'll be more. We still have half of the year left to go.
Yeah.
No doubt. Unfortunate.
And so everybody out there, be careful, be good, promote your material, promote the stuff that you love. If you have a comic out there that you read as a kid, dig that book up, show it to people. If you do podcasts like this, bring it out. Let's see it. I'll be here on Sunday Funnies. You want to come on Sunday Funnies? Contact me. Sunday Funnies, 9 a.m. You want to talk about the comics that you love? Let's do it.
Yeah.
Sunday Funnies is wide open for that kind of stuff. We try to do a more positive show there, a more fun and fanciful show. That's Sunday Funnies, 9 a.m. on Sundays. You can find it also archived over at the Ragin 2 network on YouTube. Ragin 2, RAGIN with the number 2.
Are we headed for a recession as the 11th?
Oh,
what was that?
Oh, another channel.
We already knew that. Anyway, Ragin 2 network. Look at all of these great shows. They're not just the ZimmCast. There's live stream from Daphne. There's Dispatches from Outside the Box. There's Nerd Bacon. There's Sketchy Saturdays. House of Bob is this Friday.
Saturday.
Sorry. House of Bob is this Saturday. Why did I say Friday? I don't know. There's no shows on Friday. There needs to be a show on Friday.
Yeah, there is. There's the vlogs in the morning.
Is it the vlogs in the morning? Yes. Yeah. Over here. The Ragin 2 vlog.
Who does Sketchy Saturday?
My mistake. Mike, Jimmy, and Marv.
Okay, I got to check in.
They do it in the middle of the afternoon, which is their evening.
Oh, gotcha.
Doesn't Mike Jimmy also do an animation show or something?
He does. Yeah. That's not up on this card. Yep. And also, folks, if you're doing and fulfilling a campaign, if you're mailing stuff out like Scott is with Errantry, you're going to want to use a Gemini mailer. And if you go over right now to Gemini Comic Supply, it's the safest and best way to ship out your comics through the mail, is using a Gemini mailer. Go over to GeminiComicSupply.com and use that coupon code RAGIN2, RAGIN, and the number 2, and they'll knock 5% off your next Gemini mailer order.
Yes, excellent stuff.
And right now, 5% is important.
Yeah,
every bit helps.
Every bit helps. So you can find me on Facebook if you want to talk to me. If you want to email me at thezimmcast@gmail.com. I don't get enough emails. Send me some emails. Send me some problems. Send me some questions. We are here to answer and to help you out as much as possible, because we love this art form, and that's what we want to do. That's why I do this podcast.
Exactly.
So, and if you're out there thinking about pulling immature stunts, crap in the market, or some attention whoring thing, just grow up or shut up. Grow up or shut the fuck up.
Yeah. If you're not going to do something constructive, get out of the way so the rest of us can do it.
And on our way out tonight, I want to remind everybody of the immortal words by Mr. Stan Lee himself. When asked if digital comics would replace comic books, he said, "Comics are like boobs. They look great on a computer, but I'd rather hold one in my hand."
One of his best quotes ever.
Immortal quote.
That's ever so true.
Ever so true, from a true comics writing master.
Too big.
That's our motto here, yabba dabba boobs. Anyway.
Amen.
Do you draw the Flintstones naked? There's a market for that.
Absolutely.
I'm sure there's fan art of that.
I'm sure there is.
Until next time, folks, be kind to each other. Try to be positive about this industry. Try to do good things and leave this industry in better shape than what you found it. Please. And we'll talk to you soon. If you get a chance, go visit your local retailer. Go find some of them great Warren magazines that he's got in a magazine box tucked under the counter with dust layered over it with prices from 10, 20 years ago, just waiting for you to go in and dust them off and take home some great reading.
They're awesome.
Reading. He's also got, if he's like my retailer, he's got bookshelves of graphic novels, some of which have been there too long, and they know it. So, hey, maybe you get a little percentage off if you take it off their hands. You never know.
Yeah. Talk to them.
I picked up a great Grendel omnibus when I was in my travels at Ludington, of all places, Mr. Scott.
No kidding.
Just a little ways north of you.
Oh, nice.
There's a great bookstore up there. There's a Grendel 1 omnibus in there. I picked it up for $10.
Matt Wagner? Matt Wagner's Grendel.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was the first set of, and I think they were printing them in chronological order. I think the Kamiko material was in there, but not much more from Matt. It was a lot of other people doing stuff that took place in the timeline, I guess, earlier than that. But it was a great volume. $10. $10.
Oh, Matt Wagner. Oh,
snoop around. You know, don't be afraid to take a few hours out for your local bookstore, your local retailer especially, and take a look at what he's got. You'd be surprised of the great comics that are out there and available.
Can't have a more fun time, I think.
A lot more than the IDW Turtles, I'll tell you that. You know?
Just love it.
Just love it. All right, everybody, until next time, this is the ZimmCast. We're heading on out of here. So,
right.
See you all later.
Take care, everybody.
The cops are doing their job as long as they don't be mean to people who are actually being innocent. Then I'm all gravy, baby.
And who's your favorite Marvel Comics hero? Mine is Superman. Remember the motto? With great power comes great responsibility.
Hey, everybody, we're all gonna get laid.